One time.
These concentrates are a complicated issue from a law perspective. You know, I was talking to somebody in California for a piece this week, and they were telling me that it's still illegal to extract THC in California via the majority of methods that we use here in Colorado. So, I mean, I know it took us a long time to get here to a place of understanding and lawful extraction in Colorado, but can you talk to the complexity of why this is such a complicated issue, these concentrates?
Sure. I mean, for a couple of reasons. One is I think the method of extraction really scares a lot of people, and a lot of regulators, and a lot of local officials. You know, that they, you know, there were these horror stories about houses blowing up and people running out of the house on fire and all these things, and it really ended up sounding like a meth lab, right? So we were like, well, we're not going to have that in the city of Denver. We're not going to have that in homes, and we're not going to have that in residential areas. So I think, you know, people had, and for a while had some legit concerns about the way this was being done and where it was being done. You know, and it's a heavily regulated thing in Colorado. It's really expensive to do correctly, and licensed businesses, you know, really have to invest in a safe way to do it for their employees and for the end product.
Yeah, $25,000–$30,000 closed loop machines, right? Ry, is that approximately what they cost?
They go anywhere from 10 up to 35, 40.
And Ry, also, you know, so many people, their image of concentrates, of dabbing, really is that titanium nail, the butane blowtorch on it. It evokes old images. So, you know, is it accurate when people call dabbing the, you know, the crack cocaine of the weed world?
No, I think it's a more accurate description is that it's like the whiskey to cannabis's beer or something like that. It's just a higher, more refined product. It's a I mean that's really all it is. It's literally just a refined product. So it's not a wholly different thing. I think the comparison comes mostly from, like you said, the sort of cultural stereotypes around torches and putting things on hot pieces of metal and.
Sure.
So it's a complex issue. As somebody within the industry, it's a thing that we have to navigate because we need to kind of fight those sorts of you know, connections, because I don't think they're not real. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing at all. It's a clean way to consume concentrates, a cleaner way, I would argue, than smoking flower, but you have to get past those stigmas. And so a lot of the way that the community is sort of responding is through innovation, through creating new ways to consume concentrates but get the same type of effect and the same type of purity that you would get out of dabbing with a torch.
And so maybe that's where the e-nail came from.
Absolutely.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I mean,
and explain also what that is.
So yeah, for those that don't know, there's things called e-nails. There's a variety of different names for them, but essentially you plug it into the wall. It's a little unit with a heat controller. It has a heated coil that goes to the nail, and so you can set it at an exact temperature, and that allows for very controlled flavor, very controlled, you know, the way that the smoke feels. A lot of people have a bad experience with dabbing because they dab it off of a red hot piece of titanium and it burns their throat because they're dabbing it at 1,000 degrees, which is crazy. You know, a good dab is probably, you know, 500 degrees. So, so these implements and the way that they kind of disguise them in other things make it a lot more palatable than walking around with open flame. So, yeah.
Well, I recommend anybody who's trying dabbing, you know, to try it with somebody who's very experienced and to, you know, do your research before you try it, because I've been with too many friends who have had bad experiences, you know, and it is a potent way of ingesting marijuana.